Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table podcast with PJ and Mike. Now, please find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Kids Lunch Table podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm PJ.
And I'm Mike.
And back with us this week is our special guest. She was on our Barbie episode, and she's here with us again today to talk about our favorite adult-oriented cartoons. Miss Amy is back.
Hi, I'm Amy.
Thanks for coming back to the Cool Kids Lunch Table with us. We're happy to have you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks for coming back, Amy, and we're excited to have you again. Mm-hmm.
Yes, today's theme, like I said, is going to be our adult cartoons, adult-oriented cartoons. The theme of this week's episode actually was brought to us by Amy. This was her idea, and it fits in perfectly with the show. So, great job with coming up with the theme for this week's episode. And like we always do, I see Beavis and Butthead on your Skype. I have Bob's Burgers restaurant behind mine.
I just have a random cartoon background.
So, like we always do, we always start off with a bit of a childhood memory. So, today's childhood memory, Amy, why don't you tell us about the first time you watched an adult-oriented cartoon?
I can tell you about like Beavis and Butthead. My mom and dad would not let us watch Beavis and Butthead. So whenever we had a babysitter over, I'd be like, yeah, mom and dad, they let us watch Beavis and Butthead all the time. They're really bad parents. Can we watch it?
Yeah.
I'll watch Beavis. Like, are you sure? Like, yeah, it's fine. Let's put it on. That and Ren and Stimpy. I liked all the messed up kind of cartoons of the millennial era of Nickelodeon back in the way day. Rocko's Modern Life. All of that. But
Yeah. I think my first adult sort of, it wasn't even really made for adults. It was Ren and Stimpy, like you said. It was on Nickelodeon on a kids network, but as a kid, you don't realize that show's really for adults until you start getting a little bit older and you start seeing the hidden meaning behind the jokes. So that's probably the first cartoon with an adult edge that I watched. But the first cartoon made for adults that I remember watching is probably the old HBO Spawn cartoon.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. I have no memory of that show existing.
It was short-lived. I think it was one season, and it came out I think right after the movie. But it was dark and it was edgy and it was violent and you had Spawn killing people and there was blood and there was guts and it was more anime, the style of animation.
Right.
But it was a superhero, and I've always been into comic books, so I wanted to really get into more different things other than just Superman and Batman, and that cartoon premiered and I always remember it.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike?
I think for me it was much like Amy's. Was Beavis and Butthead. My parents weren't like super into like censorship or anything with us. They were pretty kind of laid back, But I wouldn't really watch it in front of them. But I just remember like I think the show went on like either like 11:30 at night. I remember like I would be like downstairs and I just remember that theme song like bang, 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 bang. I was like, yeah, But I just remember after that like that. I didn't get a lot of the jokes, but I love music. Obviously, I always like when they made fun of the music video. That was actually lots of times my favorite parts.
Music video bits are like so funny. They have like new Beavis and Butthead. I watch it still, like it's still going on, which I love, and that's what we watch before bed. Like, what are we going to watch? We're going to watch Beavis and Butthead before bed. And now what they do is that they make fun of like YouTube videos, like people that are become influencers instead of like the music videos. So they have ones where like they're trying to do calming music with a very yogi type of guy, and then they're like, this sucks. This sucks, and they start fighting, and all you hear in the background is this like calming music of like what they're trying to do, and they're like beating each other up. Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
I used to Duckman too. Duckman with Jason Alexander, very adult themed, and I was like in elementary school watching this duck character talk about sex or whatever. Yeah. But I don't know, I got away with it in the back room, hiding. Mom and Dad don't know I'm watching.
Yeah, look, we all turned out fine, so. Mostly.
They're mostly fine. We're functioning adults.
Yeah. So, Mr. PJ, you kind of want to start off like, and folks who are listening, we're gonna do kind of like take turns highlighting some of our favorites, and then towards the end we're gonna do like a lightning round of honorable mentions. So, PJ, you want to kind of kick us off?
Sure. I'm in no particular order. My list, just
Yeah.
These are some cartoons that obviously made for adults that I remember that I really liked. That stuck with me, and the first one is actually a more recent one, and it is my background. Is Bob's Burgers. That show's probably 9-10 seasons deep at this point, so it's been on for a little while. I think it is maybe one of the best cartoons ever created. I don't know if either of you have spent time watching it, but it's so funny. The voice acting is perfect. It's one of those shows where it's kind of timeless. Where if you think of a Seinfeld, where you can go back and watch those episodes now and they still hold up. The themes and the stories of Bob's Burgers is the same. They age very well. And Linda, the wife on the show, Linda, is voiced by a dude, but he does such a great job. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Bob's Burgers.
And Linda started out with the YouTube videos with the Christmas tree and Mother's Day.
Yeah, I never actually seen an episode of Bob's Burgers, but I love those episodes of Mother's Day. I still quite walk around, it's Mother's Day. I say it like randomly, on a August afternoon. I just say it, so.
Linda reminds me of when I watched that so much of my mother.
Yeah, very Long Island for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Tina, there was some
great.
the other day where you think you're a Daria, but you're really a Tina.
Just the cast of characters on that show, even the side characters like Teddy, who's not really like a big main person, but he's just so funny. And Bob, the guy, I can't think of his name right now, but the voice of the guy who did Bob was also the voice of Archer.
Archer, yes.
But I can't picture him as anything other than Bob anymore. Like that character is just taken over his voice for me. It's perfect. The Thanksgiving episodes where he sings to the turkeys and all, they're just so funny.
Have a good giggle. And I don't know, for me, South Park. That's it. That's like number one.
They're on my list too. I guess we could spend a little time on them. But yeah, so Amy, tell us a little about what you love about South Park.
My favorite episode is the episode where they have no internet. That one is my favorite one of all time because of Stan's dad, Randy.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? He can't watch porn.
Yeah. That whole episode is where are you going out west to find more internet? Everything. Those guys are geniuses.
Yeah,
they really are.
They're comedic geniuses.
Yeah, they are. And then Randy all by himself.
Yeah, he's like exhausted.
Yeah. The line, it's a spooky ghost.
The episode where you find out Randy is actually the singer Lord, that one is so funny.
I am Lord, la la la.
Lord.
They have such classic episodes. I want to just share this story real quick. So I have to give credit to PJ for getting me into South Park, because when South Park came out, we were actually in the 8th grade.
Yeah,
and maybe the folks who are listening, maybe they can remember this, but there was a time where getting T-shirts was a big deal. You get a T-shirt with Cartman on it, or wrestling T-shirts was very big. It was that whole phenomenon. I mean, I guess that's still around today, but not as huge. But I remember PJ had a Cartman shirt on. I was like, yo, what is that? That looks funny. You're like, dude, you got to watch this show. It's hilarious. And of course, I watched the first episode is where, Cartman gets abducted. He gets probed. Right. And I remember watching with my brother. It was hysterical. And you guys are saying, there's so many classic episodes. The internet one. I love when they do World of Warcraft, and that one is, oh my God. I love, there's another episode where Butters becomes.
Play.
Yeah. Butters becomes like a pimp, and he's handing out, smiley faces. But the other storyline is one of the police officers goes undercover as a prostitute to do entrapment. But that whole segment is unbelievable. Timmy, he joins the gang. He's joins the Bloods with the Crips. Mm-hmm. Comic Game Sphere. Cartman freezes himself, so he doesn't have to wait to get it. I mean, there's a thing where they have that Asian character. He opens like Shitty Walk, whatever that thing is called. Like I can't the way he pronounced it. Like shit. Oh my god, Guitar Hero episode. I mean, my god.
Burrito. Taco burrito with Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
And Affleck. Yes.
That show is just so funny. What's great about that show too is it grows over time. The way they make the episodes now, and it's not the same kind of themes or storylines they had in the very beginning. It keeps evolving to keep up with the times. And Matt Parker and Trey Stone, they're just, like you said, they're geniuses. They really are. Even the video games. I don't know if you've played any of the video games, but they have the Fractured Butthole is the name of the game. It's the Fractured Butthole, but it sounds like the same Fractured Butthole. And that's so funny. And I mean, I can play that game over and over. It's written like you're part of an episode, and it's just, the game is great. The TV show is great. The movie is phenomenal. Bigger, longer, uncut, phenomenal.
Yeah, they just have like those two, man. They just like I don't know. They just see things like fourth dimensionally. Like I mean, they have like those episodes where they do like behind the scenes how they make an episode in a weekend, which is amazing. But just like the way they do storylines, and it's just like, I mean, they're just they got it down to a science, but they're just I mean even that one episode too. I think they did it's like the Apple Agreement. They end up doing like a parody of like Human Centipede.
Oh yeah.
You don't read the instructions, like
you didn't read the.
But I mean, all these clever ideas, like you said,
The only version of Human Centipede I can actually watch. I can't watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like I said, very gifted guys. Like they do the musicals. I never saw it, but they have
The Book of Mormon.
That's it.
I just saw
incredible.
the Book of Mormon a couple weeks back.
It's incredible.
Yes. Very much their humor in there, I don't know about like Broadway goers going into, I'm like, do they know what they're in for? Like, do they understand this like sense of humor that's a little messed up, but I love? Will they laugh? Who knows? All the people around you. But yeah, very funny.
And they made, Team America, that movie is hilarious. It's just like that's and everything they do like turns to gold, man. They really are. And then now they open up, was a Casa Bonita, that restaurant. It was a real restaurant. It closed down. They reopened it recently. So with the cliff divers and everything, I mean
it's Kyle's birthday.
Yeah. Cartman
wasn't invited. Cartman kind of like kidnaps Butter so that he doesn't go. Casa Bonita.
Classic. We could do a whole episode. One day we should do a whole episode on South Park. You really can't
really could.
Material. But I'm gonna kind of spin it back, I guess, to 90s. You guys, I mean, I don't know if the show was considered a classic, but I always enjoyed it. So MTV used to have this like 2-hour block, would be like MTV Oddities. You guys remember that? It was like old shows, and they used to have a show called The Head, which was about this dude who just like woke up one day and his head was gigantic, but it's like an alien lived in it. And he met all these other weird, like, freaks. There was one guy who had, like, a lawnmower blade stuck in his head. And, like, kind of the premise was, like, I think the alien in his head had to, like, get prepared to, like, save his planet. It was kind of like a weird, like, I guess, wacky comedy, dark comedy thing. But I always enjoyed that show. And that whole block, they used to have this wasn't a cartoon, but it was called MTV Oddville, which was basically like a late-night show.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like the Coney Island freak show, but as a late night show. So they had all weirdos, weird acts, and anyway, but I love that cartoon. I always liked the animation. I thought it was funny. And, it was good. I enjoyed it.
It could be comparable to like the Cartoon Network at night with
Adult Swim?
Yeah,
Adult Swim. But like they had the cartoon that to be the host was the Bugs.
Yes.
Can't remember.
The Brack Show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a perfect segue into my next because I was gonna say Space Ghost, Coast to Coast.
Yeah, Space Ghost.
And that's where Brack started. Then they had the Brack Show, but Space Ghost was just such a unique idea because it was a talk show using clips of Space Ghost.
Yeah.
From actual old cartoon and just putting the live action guy in the TV. I thought that was one of the funniest shows, and I was not a big late night talk show host, like TV show watcher. I didn't care about the Tonight Show or any of that stuff, but I never missed Space Ghost. I loved when he would have guests on the show. I thought it was cool to have like this superhero guy hosting it. It was so goofy and just ridiculous. The animation was like so stiff because it was just clips of him from the old cartoon. I thought it was such a unique idea.
Yeah, no, for sure. I always liked how it looked. I always liked how it was kind of like that somewhat of a static shot, and it would make their eyes kind of go left and right, or that one guy was like a bug. He looked like a grasshopper or something like that.
The praying mantis.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He was like my favorite character, but yeah, that show was good.
And how cartoons had that little fuzzy like vibrating type of look to them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Amy, what's your next pick?
Let's see. Can we talk? Did we talk enough about Ren and Stimpy? Like,
we can talk about Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, talk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Later on they made it into tried to make it into this adult, like Ren and Stimpy are gay for each other. They tried to, but it didn't work. It just worked more like in the 90s, that whole millennial with the dad in the robe, and you see his legs, and the legs have the tops of bottles on his calves, like these well-defined calves, like that animation of all the blood vessels in Ren when he gets super mad. He goes, "You stupid idiot."
Yeah.
I used to do impressions of him in 2nd or 3rd grade with Ren. But
my favorite Ren and Stimpy episode, I'll just never forget it, is the one where they're in the spaceship and there's the button don't push, and then Stimpy pushes the button and it turns off all the gravity, and Ren's eating a bar of soap. He thinks it's an ice cream sandwich, and they're floating around.
Yes. And it's log.
Yes.
Log. It's better than bad. It's good. Everybody wants the log. I don't know. They had the jingles in there, the pretty kitty litter, little cartoon commercials in there.
Don't whiz on the electric fence.
Yeah. But I don't know. All the block of Nickelodeon, Rocko's Modern Life was another branch of Ren and Stimpy with Heifer, and I'm nauseous.
Over.
Still on the
and
swing.
they had the big heads.
Yeah.
Yes. The neighbors, and I don't know. I just like the cartoons that weren't sweet, that weren't intended to be sweet and bubbly and all that. I like the little that they're angry. They're messed up.
Yeah, I
had a little edge to them.
Yeah, I think Ren and Stimpy definitely stands alone in terms of the maybe the gross category. Like you said, you could see the veins and there was just people sweating and just very grotesque humor, gross humor. Was it Mr. Toast? I was never a fan of that show. Man? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, flying with his butt. Yeah, and then he grabbed onto his butt cheeks.
Yeah, they were always there was I remember too, for some reason, I remember during that time period, a lot of people had the stuffed animals. That was a big deal.
Yep.
To get those two characters and stuff.
I had them.
They were a very big deal.
Pulled the hairball from Stimpy's mouth and he would talk.
Right.
Yeah. I love how gross. I think you built who I am right now with all the gross bathroom humor. I don't know. I think it helped me grow.
Yeah. Which is kind of a good segue because I still love this show. The Critic with John Lovitz. I just
a
great show.
Yeah,
I love John Lovitz. He's one of my favorite actors. I love his voice.
Speaking of the fuzzy kind of cartoon that was kind of vibrating a bit.
Yeah, and I always I think that show didn't last as long as because it's not like The Simpsons where there were so many other great characters in the show. He was the best character. Other characters felt very flat. Simpsons has there's so many. You have Bart, you have the family, you have Otto, you have everyone, this Mo, this, I mean, we'll probably get into The Simpsons probably shortly, but the critic, I always loved the fact that he was like a movie critic, it stinks, like, that was like his tagline, and
that was a great show.
And they always did like a parody of like a 90s movie, like that he would be in it or something like that, but I thought that show was like really kind of clever. I know they kind of like somewhat rebooted it. I think it was like, I don't know, on the internet, on Hulu or something for a couple of episodes, but
it was really ahead of its time. A show like that now would be much bigger than it was then.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I always like John Lovitz as a comedian.
Voice is so recognizable.
Yeah, I always try to impersonate his voice, especially like when I do like commentary from playing sports or video games. I kind of channel his voice from his radio on Brave Little Toaster. Like kind of like 1930s, like come on, that kind of like.
Oh yeah,
come on, girls, like that.
How he speaks, or like The Wedding Singer.
Yes, right. He's very good at playing villains. He kind of, for me, he's always kind of like reminded of like Daffy Duck, like in a weird way. Like when I know that to me there's like two sides of Daffy. The Daffy that's like where it can be very like he's a lunatic. He's like like bouncing off. That's like the crazy side. I always liked when he was more like sinister. You know what I mean? Like he's always trying to get Bugs Bunny. And I feel like John Lovitz is best when he's that kind of like mean Daffy.
He was great on Saturday Night Live, and he was like the devil.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like their own, he had a small part in that, but I always liked his character in his movies. And movie Rat Race, is that's a very underrated comedy.
That is a funny movie.
But yeah, so PJ, what's your next on your
So
list?
We can't have an episode about adult cartoons, I think, and not mention this show, because it is maybe, again, top out of cartoons, top 5 cartoon of all time for me for adult cartoons, Rick and Morty.
Well, then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit. So it's together. And if you got to take it somewhere, take it somewhere, Take it to the shit store and sell it. Or put it in a shit museum. I don't care what you do. You just got to get it together. Get your shit together.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny. It's one of those shows. There will be a timeless cartoon. It's written so smartly. I don't know how they're going to pull off the next season without
Justin,
without Justin coming back to do the voice, but it was I mean, the minute I watched that show, I'm like, this show is so smart. It's just smarter than anything else on TV. And the way if you don't really pay attention, you don't even know they're commenting on like current events because it's just so out there. But they really do just touch on everything. The voice acting is perfect. The voice like the options they made with their voices to say this is how Rick is going to sound, it's perfect. The father is great, Jerry. I think he's an underrated star of that show because he's just so like such a sad sack.
Yeah,
it's just perfect. I'm really hoping that the show doesn't get screwed up when they have to replace the voices and they find a really good sound alike, because the other show he made, which is Solar Opposites on Hulu, was also a very good show. And they're going a completely different direction and replacing him with a British voice. Sounds nothing like the main character. And you can't do that with Rick and Morty. If Rick and Morty don't sound like Rick and Morty, it's not gonna
fly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that show is like it's just like gravity. It just pulls you in. Like
it really
just
does.
From like the animation's kind of wacky. They look interesting. They look like obviously they're based off Doc and Marty from Back to the Future, and it's just funny, man. It's just I don't know what to say. It's just everything about it. Like you just want to see like this thing where I think like movies and TV shows work best when this goes for anything. When like okay, I want to see what happens next. If you're saying that, you're doing something right, and that just kind of like South Park. All these shows, they're real creme de la cremes.
Yeah.
Where you go, okay, where is this going to happen? What's going to happen next? How are they going to resolve this?
It's almost
problem?
like you want to say, like, how much further can they take this? Like, how much more can they push this envelope to make it edgier? And they just keep finding a way.
See what they can get away with.
Yeah.
One of my favorite beers is a Rick and Smorty beer. It's like a s'mores flavored beer with, I don't know, Rick and Morty. And I think they had a thing with McDonald's for a bit with the Szechuan.
Yeah, the Szechuan sauce. Yeah.
How it enters into the real world.
Oh
Fun.
man.
Really, it's just crazy that show has become so big in such a short amount of time. It hasn't been around for
No.
decades or anything like that. It's what, 4 or 5 seasons deep, and there's like
Mhm.
2 years in between each season. So it really has not had a lot of episodes or a big run, but it's taken over by storm. Like, it's the most popular show.
Yeah, I think the episode that got me hooked is there's two, and one that's the one I don't know the exact title, but the one that's like you're in a simulation within a simulation within a
Yep.
simulation. That one, and there's one where I can't remember the exact episode, the plot, but basically at the end, they end up killing the original version of themselves. So
They
they're
take
like
their
burying
place.
themselves, but at the end they play a song by Mazzy Star. You know what I mean? It's like very depressing. I'm like, and after that I was like hooked. I'm like, I love that band, and anyway. Those are the two episodes. I mean, freaking clever as hell. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of like voices that change, do you guys watch Big Mouth?
Yes, I saw my list.
Yeah, that like the voice that I forget the actress and Jenny.
Yeah.
That she was playing the voice of one of the girls.
Missy, yeah.
Yeah, and so you could tell the next episode, like
Yeah.
that's her voice. That it's a
For
little
me,
bit different.
yeah, because she was like one of my favorite characters, and that it's amazing how like someone can read the same lines, but just the way that the other actress like her articulation or inflection or cadence just makes a big difference in the character, and for me she's a different character now.
Feels that way. Definitely,
Yeah.
the voice changes it all. Like you just work with your voice to like try to build this character. Now
it reads different everything. Like I said, it's hard to because that essentially she's basically the new actress is basically just doing an impersonation. She's trying to
she's
hard.
trying to be
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hilarious. Nick Kroll and John Mulaney, and all going through like puberty of this time of being in middle school and all the middle school woes that we face and the hormone monsters. I like the old guy, the old.
Oh
hormone.
yeah. Yeah. I watched all the seasons so far. I feel like, I guess I can't think of the names. Andrew. I think they made his character a little bit too much of a lunatic now. He's like, but I like when the show is more grounded, but it's very good though. That's a very funny show.
Andrew farts from him now,
Yeah. But
machine.
they're doing their final season. The next one's the last one, but I'm excited to see how they wrap it up, and everything. But yeah, that's a great choice. Mm-hmm. Actually, on my list, I have I'll say the biggest and more popular ones for towards the end. But PJ, you might remember this show, maybe you too, Amy. It was only maybe for like 2 seasons from the 90s, but I always enjoyed it. It was called The PJs.
I love that show.
It was with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
Yes,
it lived in the
yes.
project.
It was like the stop motion animation.
The Raisins.
Yeah. And his name was like Thurgood Stubbs, and he was basically like the superintendent of this project building.
Yeah.
I always liked it because it was like very. It always reminded me of like the Honeymooners. Obviously, was like very. You could tell it was inspired. Took inspiration from that, and also like Home Improvement because like every episode he kind of like had to like learn a lesson, and I always like the voice. It was like I think he had one of his sons was like kind of like very overweight, but he kind of had like a deep kind of voice. So I always liked him, and I think the main character had a fear of rats, something like very irrational, and I think there's one episode where like I think he hurts his wife's feelings. Isn't spending enough time with her. They're watching like Wheel of Fortune. So at the end, I remember he makes his own puzzle that says like "I love you," but the romantic side of me coming out now. But anyway, I really always loved that show. Kind of like a forgotten gem. It's probably too much. Probably cost too much to make. That's why they probably canceled it. But yeah, the PJs. Check it out. It's very, very good. Mm-hmm.
That is a great show.
Thinking of like if there is any stop motion, I mean just the big screen rather than the small screen. They don't make like episodes like that.
Nah, no. The
No.
closest thing probably be like, which is very funny too. Actually, on my Rocket League. That's a great video game. My lightning round. Robot Chicken. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I know that's very more limited, maybe stop motion, but that show's very, very funny. Mm-hmm.
The quick jokes.
Yeah, bam, 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 yeah. Mm-hmm.
Going with like Seth Green.
Yeah.
And Family Guy.
Yep.
You do it like a 6 degrees of everything with the cartoon.
I know, for real.
Robot Chicken with Seth Green, and then we can go into like Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
PJ,
well, what was that?
you want to do yours next?
Yeah, sure. I can do mine next. This is another older one. Although I think they brought it back recently for a movie. I haven't seen the movie yet. Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh yeah.
Frylock was great, but Meatwad was always my favorite. I used to love Meatwad and the neighbor Carl, and they would go in his pool. He would get so mad. That show had something. It just had something about it that made you want to watch it. It wasn't a great show. There wasn't a lot of real animation. The plots were just okay, but there was just something about the nonsense of it all. To have like a giant milkshake, a meatball, and a thing of fries, like I don't know. It was just interesting to watch visually, and I never missed it. I would never miss an episode of that because I just thought it was so goofy and stupid. I mean, it had nothing but like fart humor is all it was really. There was nothing deep about that show, and it didn't need it. It just was perfect being so stupid.
I never totally got into that show. I do remember there's one episode where I think they're getting attacked by vampires. I remember Shake just goes like, "It's impenetrable," like the house or whatever they built, their barrier. But I remember that show got like in trouble because like they were promoting the movie or something, and they made these signs, and people actually thought it was like a terrorist like signal or something. It was like a big deal. They got in trouble, and I remember it was like a big phenomenon at one point. But yeah. Like you said, visually it's very like interesting to your eyeballs for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of a cartoon that was right after that one on Cartoon Network. It was with like a heavy metal band.
Oh,
Metalocalypse.
Yes, Metalocalypse. That one. I went to go see like in
that guy?
ballroom that them play. It was like the cartoon big screen on, and you hear the band in the background. Oh, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I've never seen all the episodes. That show's very fun. That guy's actually a very good guitar player too. I think the voice actor, and he's he got his own custom guitar, his own signature guitar now. So it proved a lot of dividends for him. Yeah, that's a great episode. I mean, great choice. I think we got to talk about Family Guy. I think it's just up there with like The Simpsons. It's I don't know. This is another show. Like I feel like the big ones, like The Simpsons and the what did we say before? Like South Park. You have all these great characters. Like you have Peter, you have Lois, you have Meg, you have Quagmire, Stewie. I mean, like when you have so many characters, you can kind of base an episode around. It just elevates the show. So I was comparing it to like The Critic, where like you're really just focusing on The Critic. Because that all the others are kind of like, but I mean, there's so many funny episodes of Family Guy. Like I think when they go to Iraq is great. Stewie gets like a girlfriend, and like she's really after his cookies that he has. And I mean, there's so many. I mean, but I know people get. I'm just curious with you guys. You get. I think the cutaways are funny. I think I know that they're not really. I know obviously they have nothing to do with the plot itself, but I think some of those are just funny. I don't know what to say. That's
the love-hate relationship with like Family Guy. I feel like people either love it with the cutaways, or they think it's like too much. I don't know, and that's the hate relationship of like a Family Guy, and the certain sense of humor of it too. Of like they make fun of everything, but whatever. South Park makes fun of everything too. But I think there is like this like love-hate relationship with the Family Guy. When you ask people about it, like they either like really think it's so funny, and then there's others that like don't find it that way because of the cutaways.
I don't mind the cutaways. I think the show is funny. I just think they sometimes overdo it. They had one episode where they kind of made fun of themselves, and Lois and Peter get caught in the cutaways. because they both make the same setup at the same time, and they get stuck in cutaway land. And they're making fun of themselves about it because I think they're starting to realize they were overdoing it for a long time. It got in the very beginning when that show first came out, I thought it was great, and then around the time it got canceled, I was starting to already get tired of it. Not that I wanted to see it get canceled because it was still funny. And then it got canceled for a couple years, and they brought it back. And then when they first brought it back, it was not as funny to me as it was the first run. But it's since gotten better again. I don't have any issues with Family Guy. That's a show I put on at night when I can't sleep. I just watch like back-to-back episodes.
It's in the background of whatever we're doing. Like, it's comforting in the background.
Yeah, but I love all those characters, and I don't mind the cutaways. Like I said, I love that kind of, because I'm a type of person who goes off on tangents, so maybe that's why I find it so relatable, the way my brain works. But yeah, I love Family Guy. PJ, any more on your list?
I mean, I can start the rapid fire if you want.
Sure,
you want me to just kind of rattle off a couple off the top of my head?
Let's do it.
Sure. Just real rapid fire. I think Dr. Katz was a great cartoon. I actually had Duckman on my list for my my rapid fire, but you already mentioned it. That's a very funny show. Yeah. I put on my rapid fire list, although I don't know if everyone would consider it an adult cartoon, but I did put Looney Tunes.
I was gonna put that, dude. I was gonna put that, man.
Right, because I mean, it's not really. It's for kids, but it really isn't. Like some of those, especially the older ones, like when they were like the old ones. Like it's amazing they got away with some of the stuff they got away with.
He one time said jackass, didn't he?
Yeah. So I put that on my rapid fire list. I think it's a classic cartoon, and I think it's one of the best. But those original ones, it's hard pressed to call that a kid show. Yeah. So those were just some of the ones I had on my rapid fire list. Harvey Birdman was another one that I thought was very funny. Archer is very funny. There's so many cartoons now that really are for adults. It's tough to even just keep up with them. They keep pumping them out. Like I haven't really watched it yet, but there's The Great North, which is made by the same people that make Bob's Burgers. I haven't gotten a chance to watch that yet, but
okay.
But Alanis Morissette's in that, so I kind of want to really give that a shot. There's an Apple TV show called Central Park, which is also the same animation style of Bob's Burgers, and it's fantastic. I think Josh Gad does a voice in that. There's a couple of other people. It's a musical, so there's a lot of singing, but it's like hip hop kind of music, so that's fun to sit through. So many to choose from, but those are just kind of where I narrowed it down. And King of the Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good one.
Hank.
Yeah.
Hank, Peggy, and Bobby. Bobber.
It's another Mike Judge classic. He did, he did Beavis and Butthead. He did King of the Hill, and he did Daria.
Amy, who's on your lightning round? Who's on your show?
Gotta talk about The Simpsons.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, that growing up, definitely watching The Simpsons, elementary school, like where it all began. I had friends that, just like how I was forbidden to watch Beavis and Butthead, they weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons. Like, you weren't allowed to watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, I know, that show is so tame. Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, compared to the Beavis and Butthead, at that time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you need The Simpsons in your life. It's good for you.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like my dad was kind of like Homer-esque in a way. Right. Like just coming home, having a beer, like at the power plant.
Yeah.
Burns, excellent. Sideshow Bob when he tried to murder Bart.
Yeah.
Lisa with her Stacy doll and her feminist point of views, and I don't know, Marge with her voice.
Yeah, I love Marge's voice, but she was like that like home. Yeah, I love that. I always like how Homer screams. It was like I can't do it. Like like that. It's like that kind of like high pitched one. Yeah, I can't do it. But I mean, like that's on my lightning round. But The Simpsons, like I said, that's probably the thing about it. Now maybe that is the first adult cartoon that I saw. But I remember. I mean, first maybe some of our listeners maybe they weren't there. When they first kind of broke out. But that show was kind of like very like mind blowing. That was like very much of like the sitcom of like cartoons. You know, like you watch that every week. You know what I mean? And I mean, like I said, just the catalog of characters. I mean, you can make an episode just about the Willie, right? The landscape guy, him.
Yeah.
You'd have Apu. You know, I mean, there's so many.
Chief Wiggum.
Yes, I mean all these.
Willie and I have the same last name. He's Willie McDougal.
Oh.
No. And Willie and I think he's my.
That was his last name. Wow.
Yeah, me and Willie, because he's Scottish.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so many great episodes. I mean,
I always liked the bus driver who looked like Howard Stern.
Yeah, Otto. Yeah.
Otto. Yes.
Oh.
I always like
Tony and Baloney.
What's the drunk's name? Barry the drunk. He's like, he's always burping. Barney. That's it. I always liked him.
And his lips.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like comic book guy.
Yeah.
I always like Ned Flanders. I always feel like I don't know how he didn't get his own show because he's like I feel like that character is like criminally underrated. He's funny as hell, man.
Wife died.
Yeah.
His wife, was she the one that was always like, "What about the children?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't she like that? Yeah. So I feel like, we have that now. We have like certain people that are like, "What about the children? Don't watch Beavis and Butthead.
Right.
Don't watch The Simpsons. What about the children?" But can I put another one?
Yeah.
With the ambiguously gay duo?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With the car that was like shaped like a penis.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's a guy that I work with who has that type of car, and every time I see this car, automatically unlocked in my mind the ambiguously gay duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like it was on the Dana Carvey show. They had the Segway, and they had the Segway with like Saturday Night Live. Again, just loving all the messed up cartoons of like not politically correct and not, saying what you feel.
Yeah.
Different avenues, Cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Great.
see.
Yeah, I guess to kind of, so my quick lightning round. Futurama, I think that show was hilarious. Obviously it's, offspring of the Simpsons.
Yeah.
But so many other shows with so many great characters. Fry, Dr. Fawn, Zoidberg,
Mm-hmm.
Bender is my favorite.
Oh yeah. Bender. Mm-hmm.
Bender.
This somewhat random, but there's a drummer. He's probably one of the best drummers in the world. He is one of the best drummers. His name is Marco Minimum. You might like him, Amy, just because of his very funny personality. But anyway, he does this thing where you can search it online where he does drum beats. Like someone will give him a sample and he'll make a crazy drum beat. So there's a thing where he uses Bender and he just loops continuously, going like my great shiny ass, like over my great shiny, and then he plays this sick beat over it. But that drummer Marco Minimum has a very cartoonish personality and charisma, and but anyway, he does a great drum beat to that one loop continuously. But yeah, Futurama's classic. You guys remember? I'm not sure. It's not really a cartoon. Maybe more in the I guess stop motion. Remember Action League Now?
Yes.
No, and I always love those characters. The Flesh. I always liked Stinky Diver. I always laughed about Meltman, like
Meltman.
he melted and everything.
Super strong and super naked.
Yeah. Wow, good memory.
I mean, it was on my my Instagram the other day of something that popped up.
Oh.
I found all these like Instagram accounts of like totally 90s or what have you.
Right.
I was watching that with the scuba diver going down the toilet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That she can fly.
the villain was always like the mayor, like they'd be like that voiceover. But
Yeah.
I always love that kind of like wacky kind of cartoons. I guess I put it here just because it was animated. Technically, it's actually a game show. It was very short lived, but it used to be called Throat and Neck. Basically what it was, they kind of had like this very attractive woman as the host of the show, but it was live. So you would call in. So let's say Peach and I called in. My character would be Throat, and his character would be Neck. And they were just like these alien dudes. Basically, you would use your phone, your old like your because like you think about your phone like I'm trying to bring up the numbers on here, like the keypad. So like
Right.
so anyway, you had to shoot sheep, you know. So you would go head to head. So like you would press 2 to jump forward, or press 4 and 6 to go like left, right, and like 5 would be like fire. You know, I used to just watch that show, but it was like live. It was animated, and it was like this adult thing basically. You're blowing up sheep. It was cartoon, but you had a very attractive girl dressed up like very like that 90s makeup, like a lot of like colors and kind of thing. And yeah.
Was it on Cartoon Network? Was it on?
It was on the Game Show Network. I'm pretty sure it was on the Game Show Network. I'm pretty sure, but late at night, like 11:30.
Not really get into the Game Show Network. I'm like, that's why. I'm like, why do I not know this show?
Yeah,
I wish
I'm pretty sure it was on there. But yeah, it was very good. And what else I had on here? That I think, and I had Looney Tunes, like PJ said. Like those. I know some, like now, like we get the DVD set. It says like the beginning, like some of these are offensive and they're a product of their time. But like I still laugh at like Roadrunner and Coyote. And I have 2 pet cats, and I'm always going beep beep when I see them, like just when I walk past them. And I mean, God, I still do. I quote that all the time, just bugs, and I always say, "What's up, Doc?" It's and I don't say this is classic.
And then the spin-off with Tiny Toons.
Oh yeah.
They're bringing that back. They're going to reboot Tiny Toons.
Yeah,
Animaniacs.
Animaniacs. We did a whole episode about Animaniacs. I love Animaniacs. I think that's one of the best TV shows of all time.
That is cute, and yak go yaks.
Yeah.
Play the facts, well,
I saw the live concert of them. I was earlier this year, I guess it was, and it was so fun to watch that. They had Rob Paulson there, the voice of Yakko, and he's fantastic. And Maurice LaMarche was there, the voice of the Brain. It's such a fantastic TV show. The acting, the voice acting, the music itself, full orchestra for everything. Fantastic show.
Whoa. Yeah, I loved it. And then I think, again, quoting cartoons, I had a friend that was quoting, like, "It go down the hall."
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The hall. But that one's quote worthy. And people say, with dogs and cats, I'm kind of like Elmira. When I see a cat, like, Amy, don't squeeze the cat that hard. Stop it. Put it down.
Right. Wow, good memory. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Plucky Duck, all those cats. It was Maximilian, right? That was his name, right? Max?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always like Go-Go. He was like he had like an umbrella as a head, like on his head. He was like a
Go-Go Dodo.
Yeah. He was like a nutcase. Mm-hmm. And what was it? Tasmanian Devil, like Dizzy or
Dizzy Devil.
Right. Mm-hmm. But now I think they're gonna make Buster and Babs related now. Boo! I always like that joke. They should be like Babs Bunny, Buster Bunny, like
no relation.
They're gonna take that's like the best joke. But,
yeah, that was mine for sure. Ah.
I know. Wow.
I don't like that.
I agree.
I don't like that.
So any other shows, guys, before we go?
I just thought of one quick one that I absolutely love that I would be remiss not to mention is Clerks, the animated series.
Yes.
I love that animated series. Only like 6 episodes or 8 episodes. They never even aired them all. But it was so funny. And instead of selling drugs, because it was a cartoon on like ABC, Jay and Silent Bob would sell fireworks to kids instead of drugs. I just think that's a great show. They got the actual voice of Dante and Randall from the movies. They got Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson to come back and do the voices, and that's a very funny show.
That's another like little song, little ditty. The Clerks version, not the cartoon version of smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers. Bears, smoking fatty, smoking blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts.
We smoke the
Roll
blunts.
$15, little man, put that shit in my hand. If that money doesn't show, then you owe me, oh.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
That's
That's
for Amy.
Yeah.
Damn. Impressive. Well, PJ, we're gonna do a pop quiz, but I just want PJ, you bastard. One of my pop questions was about Clerks, the animated series. So you spoiled that question. So
I'm sorry.
God forbid we need to do a tiebreaker. I have to think of another question now because now there's one question gone. But this is going to be quite a battle, folks, because we have Mr. PJ versus Amy. So this is going to be a tight battle. So now I'm down to 12. But basically whoever answers first gets the point. So some of these are shows we talked about, some we didn't, and basically shows we kind of grew up with. So it's not all ones that we discussed, but you will definitely know. Okay. All right. So here we go. You guys ready? Amy, are you ready?
I guess so. All right, let's do it.
All right. PJ, you ready, my man?
I'm ready.
All right, cool. All right, so here we go. Who did the voice of Chef on South Park?
Isaac Hayes.
Yes. Wow.
You got it before?
Yep. Well done. Okay. So this one is about Daria. We actually didn't talk about that, which was basically a spinoff of.
I just got into it like the other day. Like I think it's on Hulu or.
She might have an edge over PJ then. So,
probably.
What is the name of the band that she has? Trent. What's the band's name in the show?
I have no idea.
I don't know. That I don't know.
Okay.
I know she's a crush on Trent, but I don't know.
The name of his band was called Mystic Spiral.
Wow.
So I used to like Daria. I guess somewhat. I don't know if it sounds weird. I used to have actually a crush on her friend. I think her name was Jane. She had like dark hair.
Oh, Jane, yeah.
That's kind of weird, but as a kid, I kind of had a crush on her. And
yeah, Jane was very go with the flow. Jane did not care, whereas Daria cared a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I always liked Mystic Spiral. I remember as a kid because I loved Nine Inch Nails, and I'm pretty sure they probably took Trent as a Reznor anyway as an inspiration.
Probably.
Okay. So no points for that one. Who is the creator of Robot Chicken?
Seth Green?
Yes.
Ow.
PJ, we have a tied score. Oh my God. OMG. Okay. All right, now we're going to our Nickelodeon days. On the show Doug. Name the band that he loves.
The Beats.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Nice, PJ. Okay. Which is basically a goof on the Beatles. On The Simpsons, now this we could talk about too. I'm kind of curious if you guys remember this, but who shot Mr. Burns?
Maggie.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. I remember, like in elementary school, I was in the 4th grade or 5th grade. I remember sitting at the lunch table, literally, and we were all trying to figure out
who did it.
It was like the season finale, and then season 2, or the following season, it would start off with who shot him. So you had like this long break between who shot him and that was really exciting television. Okay. Katie Sagal voiced Leela from Futurama, but what is she most well known for? Which live action show?
Peg Bundy as Married with Children.
Yes. Okay. PJ in the lead.
She was also in Sons of Anarchy, which is arguably a bigger show.
Right. Touche. Okay. This is a South Park question. What is the name of Mr. Garrison's hand puppet?
Mr. Hat.
Yes. Damn, we have a tied score, 3 for 3 here. Another Simpsons question. What are the annual Halloween episodes known as? Like, what's the title?
Treehouse of Horror.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
This is another Simpsons question. These next two are. What kind of beer is usually served at Moe's Tavern?
Duff.
Whoa. I don't know. That was kind of a tie right there. I don't know. Maybe Amy by a hair. Maybe.
That's fine. By just a smidge.
Okay.
Get 'em.
So that means we're tied, folks.
Uh-oh.
All right, we got another The Simpsons question. What beverage did Homer create? Like the name of it.
Oh.
What?
I don't know.
Might we give you guys a hint? Because you might get it. It was
Let's
on fire. The drink was on fire.
I don't remember.
Wow. Okay. It was called a flaming Homer. It's like you like lit it. It was like on fire and everything. Okay. No one for that one. Wow. Okay. This is a South Park question. What is the name of the character who uses a wheelchair?
Hey.
Amy up by 1. So PJ, you really need this next question to tie it. Okay. Then we'll go into a tiebreaker. Jeez Louise. All right. So Beavis and Butthead question. What are the bands on their T-shirts?
Metallica and AC/DC.
Ooh.
Wow.
Game we got.
Amy with the win, with a 6-4 win. Wow. Well done. Well done. A very worthy competition, though. It was fantastic. So that was great. So anyway, folks, what a great time. Amy, want to thank you again for coming on our show. For our listeners, if you just listen to this episode, you can, if you like Amy, listen to our episode where she reviews Barbie the movie. She did a great job. But Amy, before we go, do you kind of want to share like any plugs, like your Instagram, any kind of?
My Instagram name is Meow. I'm Amy. MEOWIMAMY. That's it.
Give Amy a follow. And thanks again for coming on the show. It was great to catch up with you. We haven't probably spoken since high school, so it was good to catch up with you. And thanks for coming to the lunch table.
Yeah.
See you at the reunion.
All right, perfect. All right, folks. We'll see you next time. Same time, same table.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Hey kids, PJ here. Thanks for joining us while we talked about our favorite cartoons with our guest Amy. We're really happy to have Amy join us for a second episode. I'm sure she'll come back and sit at the lunch table with us again soon. Tune in next week on September the 7th for our returning guest Kirby Taylor. We're going to be speaking about The Lord of the Rings. Also coming up pretty soon is going to be our first YouTube exclusive episode where we're going to do a fantasy football draft. That'll be a lot of fun. A lot of good things coming up, kids, at the lunch table, so make sure you stick around, follow us on social media so you don't miss out on anything. All right, we'll see you next time. Make good choices.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. Please visit PJ and Mike's website, coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com for more information. Follow the boys on all social media apps. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.